Story 1. My husband served 3 tours overseas before coming home and working as a mechanic for 30 years. He wasn't the type to talk about his service much, but when he passed last month from cancer, the military honors meant everything to our family. The Purple Heart, Bronze Star, and Combat Infantry Badge were displayed in a beautiful case during the service, along with his folded flag. The funeral was held at our town's largest church because my husband had touched so many lives. Half the town showed up, including his old unit brothers, neighbors, co-workers, and people I'd never even met. The honor guard was there in full dress uniform, ready to present the flag and perform the rifle salute. Everything was going smoothly until this woman I'd never seen before walked in during the middle of the eulogy. She was loud, wearing bright colors completely inappropriate for a funeral, and kept looking around like she owned the place. I tried to ignore her, focusing on the pastor's words about my husband's service and sacrifice. After the service, people were coming up to pay their respects and share memories. That's when this woman approached me at the display case where my husband's medals were arranged. "Karen, excuse me, are you the wife?" Me, "Yes, I am. Thank you for coming." Karen, "Well, I need to talk to you about those medals." I thought maybe she was going to share a story about my husband or ask about his service, so I waited for her to continue. "Karen, I think there's been a mistake. Those medals should be going to someone who actually deserves them." Me, "I'm sorry, what do you mean?" Karen, "My grandfather served in the war too, and all he got was some participation ribbon. It's not fair that your husband gets all these fancy medals when my grandfather did just as much." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. People around us started to notice the conversation and were turning to look. Me, "Ma'am, I think you might be confused. These are my husband's medals that he earned during his service." Karen, "No, you're the one who's confused. The military clearly made a mistake. My grandfather should have gotten medals like this, not some participation ribbon. Since he's dead and can't claim them, I should get them instead." She actually reached toward the display case and tried to open it. I stepped between her and the case, my heart pounding. Me, "You need to step away from my husband's medals right now." Karen, "Don't you dare tell me what to do. I have just as much right to these as you do. Actually, more right, because my family got cheated out of proper recognition." My brother-in-law, who had been greeting guests nearby, came over when he saw what was happening. "Brother-in-law, is there a problem here?" Karen, "Yes, there's a problem. This woman won't give me the medals that belong to my family." Brother-in-law, "Ma'am, those medals belong to our family. They were earned by the man we're here to honor." Karen, "That's what everyone says, but I know the truth. The military gives medals to whoever they feel like, not based on who actually deserves them. My grandfather fought just as hard as anyone else." By now, a small crowd had gathered, including several members of the honor guard who had been preparing for the graveside service. The sergeant in charge walked over to see what the commotion was about. "Honor Guard Sergeant, what seems to be the issue here?" Karen, "Finally, someone in uniform who can sort this out. I need you to give me those medals because they rightfully belong to my family." Honor Guard Sergeant, "Ma'am, those medals were awarded to the deceased based on his specific actions and service record. They belong to his family." Karen, "That's impossible. You military people all stick together and cover for each other. I'm not leaving without those medals." She pushed past me and actually grabbed the handle of the display case, trying to yank it open. The latches held, but she was pulling so hard that the whole thing was shaking. Me, "Get your hands off my husband's medals." Honor Guard Sergeant, "Ma'am, I need you to step away from the display immediately." Karen, "I'm not going anywhere. These medals are coming home with me where they belong." The sergeant motioned to the other honor guard members, and they quickly surrounded the woman. By this point, the entire church was watching, including the pastor, all the guests, and even some people who had been outside. Honor Guard Sergeant, "Ma'am, you have 2 choices. You can leave voluntarily right now, or we can escort you out. Either way, you're leaving." Karen, You can't make me leave. I have rights. I'm not doing anything wrong by claiming what belongs to my family. Honor Guard member, ma'am, you're disturbing a funeral service and attempting to steal military decorations. We absolutely can and will remove you. The Honor Guard members positioned themselves on either side of her. She looked around frantically, realizing that everyone in the church was staring at her with disgust and disbelief. Karen, this isn't over. I'll be back for those medals. My grandfather deserves better than this treatment. Honor Guard Sergeant, if you come back, we'll have the police waiting for you. Let's go. They walked her toward the exit, with her continuing to complain loudly about how unfair everything was. The entire procession of townspeople, veterans, and church members watched in complete silence as she was escorted out the front door. After she was gone, the pastor tried to restore some dignity to the moment, but everyone was still talking about what had just happened. Several people came up to me to apologize for the disruption and to make sure I was okay. The graveside service went smoothly after that, and the Honor Guard performed the flag ceremony beautifully. But word spread quickly through our small town about what had happened at the church. By the next day, everyone knew about the woman who tried to steal medals from a veteran's funeral. The local newspaper even ran a story about it, though they didn't mention her name. Several people told me they had seen her around town before, always complaining about something or demanding special treatment. The best part came a week later when I heard she had tried to go to the American Legion Hall to complain about the Honor Guard's treatment of her. The veterans there listened to her story and then banned her from the property permanently. My husband would have gotten a kick out of the whole thing. He always said some people just don't understand what service and sacrifice really mean. I'm just glad his brothers in arms were there to make sure his final honors were protected with the dignity he deserved. Story 2. I've been planning kids' birthday parties for the past 5 years. It started as a side hustle when my daughter was little, but now it's become my main source of income. I love seeing the joy on children's faces when everything comes together perfectly. Last Saturday was supposed to be just another successful party, but it turned into something I'll never forget. The morning started great. I arrived at Riverside Park at 10 a.m. to set up for little Emma's 7th birthday party. Her parents had booked my premium package, which included balloon arches, face painting, and a treasure hunt. 3 other families from Emma's class were joining, so we expected about 15 kids total. I spent 2 hours setting up colorful balloon displays around our reserved picnic area. Red, blue, yellow, and pink balloons formed beautiful arches around the tables. The kids started arriving around noon, and their excitement was infectious. Emma's mom had made a gorgeous butterfly cake, and everything looked picture perfect. The party was in full swing when she appeared. A woman in her 50s marched toward our area carrying a small white cat in a designer carrier. She looked furious, her face red with anger. The kids were playing a balloon-popping game I'd organized, laughing and cheering each time a balloon burst. Karen, excuse me, you need to stop this immediately. I looked up from where I was helping a child with face paint. I'm sorry, is there a problem? Karen, yes, there's a huge problem. Your noise is terrorizing my emotional support cat. He's having a panic attack because of those balloons popping. I glanced at the cat carrier. The small white cat inside looked completely calm, actually seemed to be sleeping. Ma'am, we have a permit for this area until 4 p.m. We're not violating any noise ordinances. Karen, I don't care about your stupid permit. My cat has anxiety, and this is animal abuse. Emma's dad stepped forward. Emma's dad, look, we understand you're concerned about your pet, but this is a children's birthday party. We'll be done in a couple hours. Karen, a couple hours? Absolutely not. Without warning, she reached for the nearest balloon and popped it with her fingernails. Several children jumped and started crying. Hey, you can't do that. Please stop. But she didn't stop. She began systematically moving through our setup, popping balloons left and right. Kids were crying, parents were trying to calm them down, and I was frantically trying to stop her. Karen, there. Now my cat can have some peace. Emma's mom, you just ruined my daughter's birthday party. What is wrong with you? Karen, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you people, torturing innocent animals with your selfish celebration? I looked at her cat again, still sleeping peacefully, completely unbothered by the commotion she was causing. Me, ma'am, your cat looks fine. You've upset all these children for no reason. Karen, don't tell me about my own emotional support animal. I'm calling the police on all of you. She pulled out her phone and dialed 911. Karen? Yes. Hello? I need officers at Riverside Park immediately. There's a group of people here harassing me and endangering my service animal. They're being aggressive and threatening. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was completely lying to the dispatcher. Emma's dad, are you serious right now? You just destroyed a kid's party and now you're calling the cops on us? Karen, you're all bullies, attacking a disabled woman with a service animal. 2 police officers arrived about 15 minutes later. By then, Karen had positioned herself to look like the victim, sitting on a bench holding her cat carrier and fake crying. Officer 1, what seems to be the problem here? Karen immediately launched into her sob story. Karen, officers, thank goodness you're here. These people have been harassing me and my emotional support cat. They were making loud noises on purpose to scare him, and when I politely asked them to stop, they became verbally abusive. I stepped forward with the party permits. Me, officer, that's not what happened. We have legal permits for this birthday party. She came over and started popping the children's balloons without permission. Several parents backed me up, and Emma's mom showed the officers photos she'd taken of Karen destroying the decorations. Officer 2, ma'am, do you have documentation for your emotional support animal? Karen hesitated. Karen, well, no, but I don't need to carry papers everywhere I go. Officer 1, actually, if you're claiming accommodations under the Americans with Disabilities Act, you do need proper documentation. And from what these witnesses are telling us, you initiated the confrontation. Karen, that's not true. They're all lying. Officer 2, ma'am, we have multiple consistent witness statements and photographic evidence. You disrupted a legally permitted event and destroyed private property. The officer looked at the children, many still sniffling from being scared. Officer 1, you also appear to have caused distress to several minors. That's considered harassment. Karen's confidence started cracking. Karen, but my cat was scared. I was protecting him. Officer 2, your cat appears to be sleeping peacefully. Meanwhile, you've disturbed the peace and caused property damage. The officers spent a few more minutes taking statements from the parents and myself. Karen kept insisting she was the victim, but her story kept changing. Officer 1, ma'am, we're issuing you citations for harassment of minors, disturbing the peace, and destruction of private property. You need to leave the park immediately. Karen, this is discrimination. You can't do this to me. Officer 2, you can contest the citations in court if you feel they're unjust. But right now, you need to leave these families alone. Karen stormed off, still clutching her cat carrier and muttering about lawsuits and discrimination. After she left, I helped the parents salvage what we could of the party. We had some backup balloons in my van, and the kids were resilient. Emma still got to blow out her candles and open presents. Emma's mom, I'm so sorry your party got ruined by that crazy woman. Me, hey, these things happen. At least the kids will have an interesting story to tell. Emma, that lady was mean, but the police officers were nice. Can we invite them to my next birthday? Everyone laughed, and the mood lightened considerably. A week later, Emma's dad called to tell me Karen had tried to fight the citations in court. Apparently, she claimed to have a lawyer and demanded the charges be dropped. The judge not only upheld all the citations but added community service hours after reviewing the evidence and witness statements. The best part? I heard through the park's grapevine that Karen was banned from bringing her emotional support cat to to the park after animal control determined it wasn't properly registered or documented. Sometimes justice works exactly as it should. Emma's family became regular clients, and I always make sure to have backup balloons ready, just in case. Story 3. I've been working on cars since I was 12 years old. My dad owned a small auto repair shop, and I spent every weekend there learning how engines worked, how to change oil, and eventually how to rebuild transmissions. By the time I graduated high school, I could diagnose problems that stumped mechanics with decades of experience. After college, I got a decent job as a software engineer, but cars remained my passion. I saved up for years to buy a 1995 Honda Civic that had seen better days. Most people would have sent it to the junkyard, but I saw potential. I spent 3 years and about $15,000 turning it into a proper track car. I rebuilt the engine from the ground up, installed a racing suspension, added a roll cage for safety, and painted it bright blue with racing stripes. The car wasn't pretty by normal standards, but it was fast and reliable. I'd been taking it to amateur track days for 2 years, and it had never let me down. These events were my favorite weekends, a chance to push my car to its limits in a safe, controlled environment with other car enthusiasts who understood the passion. This particular Saturday started like any other track day. I arrived at the circuit at 7 in the morning to get my car tech inspected and registered. The morning air was crisp, and I could hear other engines warming up in the parking area. I had my helmet, racing gloves, and all my safety gear laid out on a folding table next to my car. I was checking my tire pressure when I noticed a woman and her teenage son walking around the parking area, looking at all the different cars. The kid seemed genuinely interested in the vehicles, asking his mom questions and pointing at various modifications. I didn't think much of it at first. Lots of families came to watch the track days, and most were respectful car fans. But then they stopped at my car. "Karen, oh, this is perfect. My son has been wanting to try driving a race car." "Me, actually. This isn't a rental or anything. It's my personal car." "Karen, well, you're not using it right now. He could just take a quick spin around the track." Her son looked embarrassed and tugged on her sleeve. "Son, Mom, we can't just use someone else's car." "Karen, nonsense. These people bring their cars here to show off. I'm sure he won't mind sharing." "Me, ma'am, I'm sorry, but nobody drives this car except me. It's not insured for other drivers, and honestly, it takes experience to handle safely." I tried to explain that my car had no power steering, a very stiff clutch, and a sequential gearbox that was tricky to operate. The brakes were also much more sensitive than a normal car, and the racing tires had no grip until they warmed up. Even experienced drivers needed time to adjust to how it handled. "Karen, that's ridiculous. A car is a car. My son has his license." "Me, I understand, but this really isn't like a regular car. The insurance alone would be a nightmare if something happened." "Karen, you're being selfish. You probably just want to keep all the fun to yourself." The conversation was getting uncomfortable, and other people were starting to notice. Her son looked like he wanted to disappear. "Son, Mom, please, let's just go watch from the stands." "Karen, no, I paid good money for our tickets to this event. You deserve to have the same experience as everyone else." "Me, ma'am, everyone here is driving their own cars that they built and maintain themselves. That's how these events work." "Karen, I don't care about your stupid rules." Before I could react, she pushed past me and climbed into the driver's seat of my car. I heard a horrible grinding sound and my heart sank. "Me, please get out of my car right now." "Karen, I'm just seeing how it works. Maybe I'll take it for a drive myself first." She was yanking on the gear shifter, not understanding that you had to push it down and pull a release before shifting. The grinding sound got worse. "Me, stop, you're going to break something." Security had noticed the commotion and was walking over. I flagged them down frantically. "Security guard, what's the problem here?" "Me, this woman climbed into my car without permission and I think she's damaged the transmission. Karen, he's lying. He said we could use his car, and now he's trying to back out. Security guard, ma'am, is this your vehicle? Karen, well, no, but... Security guard, then you need to get out immediately. Karen climbed out, still arguing, but the damage was done. When I got in to check, the gear shifter was completely loose. She had broken the shift linkage by forcing it while the car was in gear. She broke my gearbox. This car is my only transportation to work this week. Security guard, ma'am, you need to come with me. Sir, do you want to file a report? Karen, this is discrimination. You're all ganging up on me because I'm a woman. Her son was mortified. Son, Mom, you broke his car. We should pay for it. Karen, we're not paying for anything. He should have explained how to use it properly. The security guard escorted them toward the exit, while Karen continued ranting about how unfair everyone was being. I spent the next hour filling out incident reports and getting contact information from witnesses. The track day organizer came over to check on me. Organizer, I'm really sorry this happened. We've never had someone try to commandeer another person's car before. What happens now? Organizer, well, we're banning her from all future events at any track we manage, and will support you if you decide to pursue this legally. It took 2 weeks and $800 to fix the shift linkage and replace the damaged transmission components. Karen refused to answer my calls or respond to letters from my insurance company. Eventually, I had to take her to small claims court. The best part came 3 months later. I was at another track day when I overheard 2 other drivers talking. Driver 1, did you hear about that woman who got banned from every track in the state? Driver 2, the one who broke someone's car. Driver 1? Yeah, apparently she tried to get into another event by lying about being someone's wife, but they had her photo flagged in their system. It turned out the track day organization had shared her information with every racing venue within 200 miles. Her son would never get to experience a real track day because of her entitled behavior. My car runs better than ever now, and I still take it to track days regularly. But now I always park it where I can keep an eye on it, and I've made friends with the security guards. They all know the story, and they watch out for anyone who seems a little too interested in cars that don't belong to them. The kid seemed genuinely interested in cars and racing, and I felt bad that his mother's behavior cost him that opportunity. Sometimes I wonder if he ever got into cars on his own, away from her influence. I hope he did. The racing community is always welcoming to people who show genuine respect and enthusiasm. But his mother? She learned the hard way that respect and boundaries matter, especially when you're dealing with someone's pride and joy that they've spent years building. Story 4. I'm currently 7 months pregnant with my first baby, and what should have been one of the happiest days of my pregnancy turned into an absolute nightmare because of my entitled neighbor. Let me give you some background first. My husband and I moved into our apartment complex about 2 years ago. It's a nice place with a shared community room that residents can book for events. We've always been quiet tenants, never caused any trouble, and generally kept to ourselves. The same can't be said for our upstairs neighbor, who I'll call Karen because, well, you'll see why. Karen moved in about 6 months after us with her tiny dog. From day one, she acted like she owned the building. She would let her dog run around the hallways unleashed, leave passive-aggressive notes on people's doors about noise levels while blasting her own music until midnight, and constantly complained to the building management about everyone else. She had this attitude that the world revolved around her and her precious little dog. The problem started getting worse when I began showing. Karen would make snide comments whenever she saw me in the elevator or hallway. Things like asking if I was really ready for a baby or commenting about how some people shouldn't have kids. I tried to ignore her, but it was getting harder as my pregnancy progressed and my patience wore thin. When my friends and family started asking about a baby shower, I was hesitant at first. Our apartment is small, and I didn't want to impose on anyone by having it at their place. That's when my mother-in-law suggested booking the community room. It seemed perfect, spacious, convenient, and right in my own building. I booked the room 3 weeks in advance, paid the required deposit, and sent out invitations to about 20 people. Everyone was so excited, and the RSVPs started coming in immediately. My mom flew in from out of state, my sister took time off work, and even my husband's elderly grandmother made plans to attend. The day of the shower arrived, and everything was going perfectly. We decorated the room with soft pink and yellow streamers, set up tables with finger foods, and arranged chairs in a circle for the gift opening. My friends and family had been so generous, there were bags and boxes everywhere, filled with everything from tiny clothes to a beautiful crib, mobile my grandmother had handmade. The party lasted about 3 hours, and it was honestly magical. We played games, shared stories about our own childhood memories, and I felt so supported and loved. When it came time to open gifts, I was overwhelmed by everyone's thoughtfulness. There were practical things like diapers and bottles, adorable outfits, books for bedtime stories, and even a gorgeous baby blanket that my best friend had spent months crocheting. As the party wound down, people started leaving gradually. My husband and I decided to leave most of the gifts in the community room temporarily since we had to make several trips to get everything upstairs. We locked the room and went to get our car from the parking garage to make the transport easier. This is where everything went wrong. When we returned 20 minutes later, we found the community room door propped open with a doorstop. At first, I thought maybe the cleaning crew had arrived early, but then I saw her. Karen was inside the room with 2 large garbage bags, shoving our unopened baby gifts inside them. She had already taken at least half of the remaining presents. I stood there in shock for a moment, unable to process what I was seeing. My husband reacted first. "Husband, what the hell are you doing?" Karen looked up with absolutely no shame or embarrassment on her face. Karen, "Oh, hi there. I'm just taking some of these extras. You guys got way too much stuff anyway, and it's my dog's birthday next week. These will work perfectly as party favors." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This woman was stealing gifts meant for my unborn baby to use as party favors for her dog's birthday party. Me, those are my baby shower gifts. You're stealing from my baby. Karen, don't be so dramatic. You have plenty. And it's not like the baby can use them right now anyway. My dog's birthday is more immediate. Husband, put everything back right now, or we're calling the police. Karen, you're being ridiculous. It's just stuff, and I'm your neighbor. We should help each other out. She actually had the audacity to act like we were being unreasonable. My husband immediately pulled out his phone and started dialing 911, which finally made Karen realize we were serious. She dropped the bags and stormed out, but not before throwing one final insult. Karen, you're going to be terrible parents if you can't even share with your neighbors. We gathered up all the gifts and checked to make sure nothing was missing. Thankfully, she hadn't managed to take everything she'd planned to steal, but the whole experience left me shaken and upset. This was supposed to be a beautiful memory from my pregnancy, and she had tainted it. The next day, my sister called me laughing, but not in a good way. Sister, you need to check Instagram right now. I logged onto the app and searched for Karen's profile. What I found made my blood boil. She had posted a series of photos showing off what she called her amazing haul for Princess's birthday party. The pictures showed several of our baby gifts, including that handmade blanket from my best friend, arranged around her dog. The caption read, "Got so lucky today, found the perfect party decorations and toys for my baby girl's special day. Sometimes the universe just provides." She had stolen our gifts and was bragging about it online, calling them party decorations for her dog. But here's the thing about Karen, she wasn't very smart about social media privacy. Her profile was completely public, and she had tagged our apartment complex's location in multiple posts. Several of my baby shower guests followed me on Instagram and saw the post when I shared it to my story with the caption, "This is what our neighbor stole from my baby shower." Word spread quickly among everyone who had attended the party. They were furious. Within hours, Karen's Instagram was flooded with comments from my friends and family calling her out for theft. She tried to delete the post, but people had already taken screenshots. My cousin, who works in social media marketing, had saved everything before Karen could remove it. The situation escalated quickly from there. 3 of my guests filed police reports for theft. My mother-in-law, who's a retired lawyer, contacted the building management company and sent them screenshots of Karen's Instagram post as evidence of the theft. She also pointed out that Karen had illegally entered the community room without permission, which violated her lease agreement. The building management took the situation very seriously. They reviewed the security camera footage from the hallway, which clearly showed Karen entering the locked community room and leaving with bags full of items. Combined with the Instagram evidence and the police reports, they had more than enough grounds for immediate eviction. Karen tried to play victim when the building manager confronted her. She claimed it was all a misunderstanding and that she thought the gifts were being thrown away. But the Instagram posts proved she knew exactly what she was doing. She had even thanked the universe for providing her with free party supplies. The eviction notice was posted on her door 3 days later. She had 7 days to vacate the premises for violation of her lease terms, including theft from other residents and unauthorized use of building facilities. Karen spent those 7 days trying to rally support from other neighbors, but nobody wanted to get involved. Most people in the building were already tired of her entitled behavior, and the baby gift theft was the final straw. She even tried to approach me in the parking garage to work things out, but I refused to engage with her. "Me, you stole from my baby. There's nothing to work out." "Karen, I said I was sorry. Can't you just forgive and forget?" "Me, you never actually apologized. And posting our stolen gifts on Instagram isn't something I can just forget." She finally moved out on day 6, and I watched from our window as she loaded her belongings into a rental truck. Her dog was barking in its carrier, probably confused about all the chaos. Part of me almost felt bad for the poor animal. None of this was the dog's fault. The best part of this whole story happened 2 weeks later. My best friend, the one who made the handmade blanket, received a message from someone on Instagram. Apparently, Karen had tried to sell the stolen blanket on a local marketplace group, but the buyer recognized it from my friend's earlier posts about making it for my baby shower. The buyer contacted my friend, who was able to get her beautiful creation back. We also got back 2 other gifts that Karen had tried to sell online. People in our community were keeping an eye out after the story spread on social media. It turns out that when you steal from a pregnant woman and brag about it online, people tend to remember your face. The police investigation is still ongoing, but we've recovered most of the stolen items. Our new upstairs neighbors are a quiet elderly couple who brought us cookies when they moved in. The difference in quality of life has been incredible. My baby is due in about 6 weeks now, and I'm using that handmade blanket in the nursery. Every time I look at it, I'm reminded not of Karen's theft, but of my friend's love and the community of people who rallied around us when someone tried to take advantage of our happiness. Sometimes entitled people really do get exactly what they deserve.